Is the Austin housing market bubble about to burst? We've got lots of talk out there about Austin being overvalued, the stock market's crashing, interest rates are going up. All these macro factors are playing a role. And is it going to actually cause Austin to burst? Let's dive into the stats so you can see. We're looking at the May market stats so you can see inventory is growing. The number of active listings from May of 749 up to almost 1,100 in June.
Right.
So it's continuing to grow. We're going to look at the housing inventory like we usually do, and you'll see that, again, number of sales have been consistent over a 1, 3, and 12-month period, and inventory is now growing. It was at 0.85 months in May, and now we're up to 1.1 months of inventory.
Yeah, in the recent market, as you know, we've been hovering at about half a month inventory, a little bit less. Last month, a little bit more, 0.85 months of an inventory. And now we've gone over 1 month inventory. So we had mentioned several months ago that once we get to about a 2-month inventory, the market really does begin to shift. Now we're just anticipating a moderation of the current trend.
And so going through the stats, so the number of sales are down. Again, this is a stat that's a little bit trailing because agents haven't entered all the data yet. It's only the beginning of the month. So as the month goes on, we anticipate more sales will be recorded, and it won't be a 14% drop, probably be single-digit drop in the number of sales.
Right.
And up until now, we've had an inventory issue, and that's what's been causing the number of sales to stay lower than they have in previous years. So we're going to see how that changes as the months continue throughout the year. The average sale price continued to increase from 2021 to 2022, also from last month to this month, an all-time high now, $918,000 average sale price in the city of Austin.
Right.
And again, we focus on the city, so we're not looking at any of the suburbs in this data.
And single-family homes.
Number of days to sell, up 10%, pretty nominal change from 10 to 11 months from last year to this year, but down from previous month, 13 to 11, a 15.4% decrease month to month. The number of new listings, again, good trend. We had way too few listings. So this is a good trend to see that we have more listings, more inventory building, and that trend continues as anticipated. Our listing inventory barometer. If you missed it last month, we went in detail on how we came up with this. This is your number one metric to track what's going on in the market. So it's great. We got second month here of data that we can show you. And if you look at the screen, you can see the 100% line. And anytime it's above that, that means inventory is building. So over the past 2 months, almost every week, inventory continues to build. We have 1 week where it wasn't, where actually inventory dropped, and then a couple weeks where it's about even. But mostly we're seeing inventory build, which is a good sign for buyers as they're going to have more optionality. Now, sellers, you might be worried, what does this mean for me? And I've had clients reach out to us. They're thinking about selling because of lifestyle reasons. They need to move to a different city for a job. And what does that mean? The market's not great. Oh my goodness, I'm going to lose money on my home. Just keep in mind, we have gone from the craziest seller's market in the history of the country, probably, what we experienced in Austin, Texas over the last year, to a seller's market.
Right.
So sellers still in control here, and the buyers still more buyers than there are sellers. Now, real estate is hyper-local, so it's going to depend on your neighborhood. One of the sellers that reached out to me, we looked, and there would be 3 homes they'd be directly competing with. Same size, roughly the same year build, similar finish outs. And so if there's 3 homes that have all been on the market on average 30 days, it's a little bit of a different story than somebody in a different neighborhood where there may be 1 of 2 listings that are currently available. So the micro dynamics of your neighborhood are going to dictate the strategy. So if you're thinking of selling because of lifestyle reasons, that's something you should have a one-on-one conversation with your agent. So if you're working with us, reach out to us and we'll talk about strategy. And there's a lot of things that go into it, especially in a market like this where things are starting to change, where we want to take into account pricing strategy, how we're going to position the property to differentiate from some of the competition in your micro neighborhood.
How we add value to your net proceeds by recommending some improvements to the home prior to putting it on the market. The key here is, as David said, it's very hyper-local. When we're showing you the listing inventory barometer, the thing to understand is that this is a leading indicator. This is based on new listings in a given week as compared to the number of pending sales in that same week. not a lagging indicator like the other stats that we looked at previously. So guidance to sellers is that this is now the time when we still have incredible momentum to get the home on the market, or at least talk about the strategy to maximize your net proceeds when you do decide to sell.
And when we're talking to sellers, our goal is always what's in their best interest. So can they hold on to the home? Because our outlook and most people's is that in 3 years from now, home prices are going to be greater than they are today. We're going to exceed this all-time high. Confident in that, the momentum that Austin has. You can watch our videos on what's going on with population growth and new developments in Austin. And so we're very confident that this trend is going to continue. So if this person can hang on to that home through some sort of creative solution, so for example, maybe they can rent it. Oh, we need the equity. Well, there's ways to get the equity out without having to sell the home. And you can continue to benefit from the home appreciation in Austin, even if you have to move and buy a home in another city.
Very true.
Bottom line, don't need to jump to conclusions about what might be happening. You hear through the grapevine that the market's changing, and what does that mean? So I think here showing you in the charts that we're building inventory, but it's only gone from about half a month to about a month.
Right.
So we've doubled our inventory, which sounds significant. But in the big scheme of things, we're still not at a point where it's shifting to a buyer's market.
Right.
Still a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of buyers out there. If you're considering selling, you need to sell. It's still a great time to sell. If you got a lot out of this video, please go ahead and like, subscribe so you get updated. We're coming out with videos every week. Share this with a friend. You can comment below on what you're seeing in your local neighborhood. I'm David Shapiro, local real estate agent, investor, and developer with my colleague Lee Abraham. We've got a combined half a century of real estate experience. So reach out to us if you're thinking about buying, selling, or investing, and we'll talk about strategy specific for you.
Thanks, everybody.